Hi everyone. So in today's video, what I want to talk about is, should you reduce the salary you take from your business if you want to lower your employer's national insurance bill? So why is this important now? Rachel Reeves, in her last budget, slashed the band at which you start paying employers' national insurance from what used to be about £9,100 to about £5,000. And she also put up the rate of national insurance from 13.8% to 15%. So quite possibly, if you are in a business which has quite a few staff and those staff use up your what you call your employment allowance, and as a director, you're the one that ends up paying employers' national insurance on your own salary because there's no employment allowance left to cover it. Or if you were a one-person company and you don't qualify for employment allowance, although there is a loophole around that. I wouldn't say loophole though, a legitimate way to save money. But get in touch with me because I'm not going to cover it in this video. However, if you're a business where you don't have employment allowance available and you don't want to pay employers national insurance, then you might be thinking, what if I just lowered my salary to £5,000 and it won't trigger any employers national insurance? So this video is about discussing the pros and cons behind doing that. And then hopefully at the end of the video, you have a good understanding of what your director's salary should be. I have got a very extensive article covering this, probably the best of its kind in the country. If you just Google limited company loopholes, or just go to our website and look for the article which is featured, which says getting money out of your limited company without paying tax. Anyway, let's go into this. As tempting as it is to save employers' national insurance, you should not necessarily or automatically drop your salary to do that. There's a couple of reasons. Firstly, if you drop your director's salary to £5,000 the point you don't pay any employer's national insurance, then you could well be missing out on your state pension credits because it has to be about 6,500, which is what we call the lower earnings limit, LEL, to qualify for your state pension. You do not want to be throwing your state pension away just because you got your director's salary too low. Be careful about that. Secondly, as painful as employer's national insurance is, it's better than the alternative. What's the alternative? Pay corporation tax at maybe 19 to 25% and then pay dividend tax, which for comparison is more like 7% anyway. So it's better to pay 15% employers' national insurance than to pay the combination of corporation tax and dividend tax on that, the additional profits you'll make because you've taken a lower salary. In general, what you should really be thinking about is, am I going to waste my state pension credit, and also am I going to end up, by taking a lower salary, put myself in a position where I do end up paying more tax? But there are certain instances where it might make sense to actually drop it all the way down to 5,000 so you don't pay any employer's national insurance. For example, if you have another method of qualifying for your state pension, let's say, for example, you claim child benefit or you have another job and you don't need that credit from your company, you may think about going all the way down to 5,000. That's definitely a reason you might want to do it. And let's say you do want to pay less employers' national insurance, but you don't necessarily have a way to qualify for your state pension, or perhaps drop that salary down to 6.5K, and then you don't have to pay as much employers' national insurance, but you will still pay enough to trigger that state pension credit. But the other side of this is, if you've got other sources of income that are essentially using up your personal allowance and you're not really benefiting from taking a full salary to use up their personal allowance, then actually at that point it could be worth dropping it down to 6.5 or 5,000, because in the end of the day, you're not actually saving a lot of tax by keep taking the full personal allowance out of your company when you've got other sources that are going to use up anyway. And the tax you save by taking the full personal allowance as a salary, the 12,570, you're just going to end up paying somewhere else through your other sources of income. So there are scenarios where you might want to drop it. There's scenarios where you wouldn't. This one has to be thought out. Maybe talk to an accountant about it if you can't figure it out yourself. Definitely read my article, which has got that sort of step-by-step explanation about how this all works. And my article also has that hack about getting your employment allowance if you are in a one-person company. So I'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching, and also get in touch if you have any questions.